This is a trade recap for Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. Number 3 of 10 for phase 5 of one and done. Or are we doing 15? No, I can't remember. Anywho, another kind of interesting day in the market, kind of a continuation of what we've been seeing. Kind of those volatile pops, and when this thing wants to try and sell off, it seems to get bought up. And again, just kind of that transitionary market feel, spats of volatility, grindiness, the usual stuff. Relatively small trade today, and that was done due to the guidance and recommendations by my coach, and also kept the size fairly small just because way things set up and the way they're playing out, they just didn't necessarily signal the appropriate, again, it would be appropriate to use size. And that's one of the biggest reasons to have a coach or mentor, is to give you the guidance you need when markets are not the easiest to trade. They're actually a little tricky. And that was something he was going over. So if you're new or struggling with day trading and you're looking for that high-level coach, I recommend Pat Mitchell over at tricktrades.com. That is who I learned from. He's been at this for over a decade now, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. Proves it day in, day out, every single day that we trade. And he trades like no other. He has a level of mastery on this that is astounding. But yeah, head over to the site, read up on what is offered and his background. It's very interesting. And if you'd like a sampling of the information he puts out there, he does have a YouTube channel. 1,700 video, well, over 1,700 videos. Entire library of information and lessons. Would take you probably years to crawl through all that, pull out the information, and put it all together. So I highly recommend just, putting it, take the easier route and join the service and just simply learn from the man himself directly. And you won't be disappointed, provided you put in the time and the effort that is required of you to truly learn this. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Okay. So for today, we're actually kind of lay the land real quick if you're new here. We only trade SPY and Qs. Those are the only two tickers we trade. And that's, again, the most liquid ETFs in the market. Keeps things pretty simple and straightforward. So on here, this upper row, this is SPY. This lower row here is Qs. These charts here on the left are our daily charts, and the charts here in the middle are the 1 minute intraday charts, and I keep my order execution here on the right. Now, these blue levels you see here are the levels that Pat will start plotting the night before, and then he refines them the morning of. And then once the levels are figured out, he will build a trade plan around them, and then that is what we will trade. I add these dashed levels for red levels for risk. That's a personal preference for me. You don't have to do that. He doesn't do that. So just some insight there. So with SPY, we're both looking at, so again, SPY and Qs. Qs was kind of already above this high from yesterday. And so again, we were really just where Qs was opening up. It was not the most ideal place or to really take a trade. And sometimes, hey, that happens. SPY, on the other hand, was better than Qs in terms of just what we had to work with. So again, the trade plan was, if we opened, again, where we were kind of pre-market riding this trend line, if we broke below this level, came back, retested, could enter into short to ride down. For some reason, if we just dumped straight out into this lower level here on Qs, you could take that long. Has some nice protection with the 5 there. And kind of a similar theme with SPY, though, again, SPY had a more of a opportunity to get in short closer to the open. So SPY opens up, comes up into the level, or at least this is the trade plan, was to come up into the level, again, enter in short and basically work it up to risk. I, for some reason, just dumped straight out into the lower levels. We had two long levels that we could potentially utilize. So we were just waiting to see exactly what we were going to do. So we opened up, came up into the level. I went in entries. Again, kind of on that initial pop, entered, got a little bit of reaction, paid myself with just one, came back up, and then when I was getting close, entered with one, and just kind of wanted to wait and see like what would happen. Came up, tested again, sold off. Was actually trying to hold out for as longer on these. So I did end up taking it off here on this dump because it was starting to do the same thing it did yesterday. You get these volatile kind of sell-offs, and then it would get immediately bought back up and then push. And it would just kind of rinse and repeat this and then just continue to grind higher. So again, it's a kind of continuation of what we've been seeing, I think, all this week. So for whatever reason, at these levels, people are, again, doing some kind of squirrely things, or again, I don't know, it's the institutions and just style of the way they're trading, but it's one of those things where if you're not careful here, you could definitely get yourself into a little bit of trouble because you're not positioning yourself in the best way to where if you just threw size at this, maybe you'll get away with it. But again, if you don't do it appropriately, you're going to get squeezed on real hard and fast because the way those candles get bought up, because it looks like this thing is, again, it starts selling off, looks like it's going to get dumped, and then all of a sudden it just gets, snaps right back up. And it's one of those things where it happens in fractions of a second. So much better off just taking size out of it and just getting experience, getting screen time. Honestly, it's probably been one of the more difficult trading weeks that I can remember, where it's been, I don't want to say difficult, but it's been different because of just the way the price action has been going. Because you would expect, again, some sort of, I can understand a day, maybe two of that kind of style of price action, but it seems like, again, it's the theme of the week is just those weird volatile sell-offs and then immediate buy-ups and then just pushing higher and squeezing. Which, again, there's a component of that is, again, as Pat was going over with us, that one of the reasons why it does that is because retail traders, the lack of discipline, lack of emotional control, and how, again, they'll get spooked out of their positions really easy. And then, again, just kind of messes with the price action, especially when the institutions are just kind of sitting there waiting and they have all the buying power that they need to just mess with the retail all day long. So it's one of those things where you just got to be cognizant of the players that are in the room with you. Does that mean you're not going to trade or take, certain trades? I don't know. But it's one of those things where it's, even with the way things have been, strategy is still perfectly sound. The trade plans are perfectly sound, proven day in, day out by Pat. And again, typically, when I've been at least right on a trade, is not because anything to do with the plan, had nothing to do with the strategy. It had everything to do with me kind of misexecuting, misunderstanding, or doing my own thing historically. The trade plans and strategy I've proven countless times and just how sound they actually are. But sometimes you do need to kind of change your style up a little bit and how you trade. So instead of trading in, say, our more traditional senses, you almost need to be play pretty close to the vest and be quick in and quick out of these trades, almost like a scalper's mentality, more than, say, again, looking for that, follow through per se. Because, that's one of the things Pat has been wanting to work on with the momentum around so far. And it's one of those things where it's like get some trades to really, again, practice paying into targets, how to be patient and kind of with that kind of stuff. And we've gotten a little bit of that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, again, when you get these weird volatile price action days, it's like, it doesn't really give you the opportunity. And SPY was one of those things where we were kind of waiting for it to set up to, again, after our initial trade, that like you see on the 2 contracts I took, was waited for it to basically set up and potentially do the continuation of that trade, but it never really set up an appropriate way where we could take it. And sometimes that happens, and it's okay. Tomorrow's another day, as Pat puts it. So, in terms of like emotion, like, no, I did pretty good on that one. I can't think of any real emotional spikes or anything that happened during the trade session. Could I wait a little bit closer to the level for that second entry? Yeah, I mean, I could have. Other than that, like, no real reactivity. Well, in the trade, I was patient with it. It was just kind of one of those things where it's just kind of interesting sometimes to sit back and watch how these days unfold, and without even taking a trade, like, it's kind of a good exercise. Can you figure out, what is the chart going to do? Where is it going to go? And kind of turn it, it's almost like gamifying it a little bit to see, again, can you figure out where it's going to go? And can you do so consistently with accuracy? Kind of be an interesting exercise, because it's one of those things where Pat can read the stuff like a book, and one of those things where, really want to aspire to be on that level, but that'll definitely take some time and some effort. But all you have to do is put in the work, and again, can get there. Just got to do it. So with that being said, that's more or less all I have for this one. As I said before, if you're looking for a high-level coach and mentor, Pat Mitchell over at churchtrades.com is the man you want to be learning from. If you'd like to save a little money on your first month and try out the service, check the description below. Other than that, I will catch you guys tomorrow for the next one. Have a good one.